Hi everyone, Ed here from Slowed Quest, and welcome to my 2019 most anticipated list of board games. Yes, there's going to be quite a few games this year, let me tell you. Now, I've went with a top 12, not a top 10, because that's too much 2018. So we're going with a top 12 for 2019. It's a game per month, I don't know. That's the logic I got to, but that's mainly because I didn't want to remove any more games from the list. I had quite a few. I had like 18, I think, that I was highly anticipating. So yeah, I had to cut off like 6 of them. They're still pretty good games, some legacy games. I'm not going to mention them. You probably know which ones I'm referring to. But yeah, I kind of had to left these 12 in the list. I really have to refer them because they are going to be amazing. These are games that are certainly going to make the tops of a lot of people's lists in 2019. At least I think they will probably top my list. They are really, well, games that, I don't know, they are riding the hype train, I guess you might say. So yeah. I'm just going to start the list right off the bat with number 12, which is Barrage. I think that's how you spell it. So Barrage is kind of a worker placement game. Worker placement has been getting, you know, a few new ideas lately. It's a super done theme, not theme mechanic. It's a super done mechanic. And but lately, I mean, that kind of genre is being really revitalized by amazing new mechanics that people have come up to it, and that they really bring something different to worker placement. It's not just a regular, you know, place your worker here and I don't know, take a cow or plant carrot in your farm. Things are really evolving a lot, and yeah, worker placement is one of those mechanics that is, I mean, people know it's been used to exhaustion, and they are really trying to I don't know, bring new stuff and revitalize that kind of mechanic, and it's been very successful. I mean, it's one of the most loved mechanics, perhaps. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's in my top 3, perhaps, of favorite mechanics in board games. I really like it, even though, yes, it is really kind of used to exhaustion almost recently. But yeah, things are brightening up for that mechanic because there's a lot of new stuff, and Barrage seems like a great new take as well on that worker placement. I mean, the theme is pretty good. It's not my favorite theme, that's why it's kind of a bit lower on the list. But I do think that the game mechanically, the ideas it has, you know, that the board, I don't know if you guys seen it. If you haven't, go check it out. It's pretty interesting. The board is really cool what they've done with it. So it's kind of in 3 layers. Well, I don't know if you know the theme, but I'll explain it. So it's kind of 1930s, I think, and it's kind of a dystopian world where dams are actually providing the energy into the world. So in Barrage, you are controlling one of those dams, and you have to well, make energy, enough energy to sustain that the community. I don't know if it's a community what you are sustaining with that particular dam. I really don't know that detail. But yeah, you are trying to make energy with the water. So you have those 3 layers, those 3 levels in the board. The board itself is, you can get, well, I don't know, there's probably one plain board, but there's also a board that has those 3 steps. Kind of simulates the flow of water, I guess. So it is pretty cool, and there's a few mechanics in there which kind of elevated a lot. Yeah, so it has been on people's mouths since it was on Kickstarter. The game has some really cool, besides the board, the layers on the board, there's another mechanic that looks really cool. So it has this kind of a or how do you call it, a lock? I don't know. It's kind of a wheel, and you have resources on it, and your actions, you kind of have to plan your actions because the wheel will be turning, and it will be unlocking the resources that are stuck in there. So the wheel has kind of sections, divided sections. Resources are split between those sections when the wheel turns. Then there's well, there's one, I don't know if there's one exit for the resources or more, but yeah, you kind of have to manage and work around what's coming out of that wheel as well in terms of resources. So it's a lot of resource management in that game as well. And yeah, I look forward to trying it out. I think it's going to be one of the great games of 2019. For my personal taste, it might not have, you know, the legs in terms of solo, of course, I mean, in terms of solo, it might not have the legs to be one of the best, because worker placements, sometimes it's hard to be one of the top of the year, because in terms of replayability, well, people like campaign when they're playing solo. I mean, you can just go there, go play 1 game, 2 games, but if there isn't, you know, something to bring you back time and time again, sometimes the games kind of get forgotten in the solo universe. But this one does seems like a great game. So I think that game is going to, I mean, knowing the media outlets there are, it's going to probably compete for Game of the Year in a lot of them. For me personally, I don't know. I don't think it's my most preferred theme, and that's why it's not so high on the list. But yeah, do keep an eye on Barrage, because that one is going to be pretty good. Okay, and now my number 11, that is Escape Plan. Now, Escape Plan is from Vital Lacerda, who is a master in the worker placement genre as well. See, he has amazing games. You have Gallerist, which is adored by solo gamers. Well, you have Vinhos, you have Kanban, you have Lisboa, which was an amazing, ginormous game, very well received. And yeah, he has his latest game, Escape Plan. It was on Kickstarter in 2018. I did back it. I will be getting it, so it will be shown on the channel here. Again, it's from all of his games. I believe it seems to be a bit lighter than the usual. It might be that might be why it's a bit lower on my list as well. So and in terms of theme, it's not a theme that well, actually I thought the theme on the Gallerist wasn't one of my favorites either, but the game is amazing. So maybe the theme isn't actually that important, but in terms of hype or anticipation, it definitely is. When you have the game on your hands, it might not be, because the game is amazing, you'll forget about the theme. But in terms of anticipation, for me at least, it has a bit of, well, a big, not a little bit, it's a big weight for me. So if the theme doesn't push me too much, maybe my anticipation will go a bit lower. And that's why I guess this one is only on my 11th spot. But hey, it's still 11th of the whole year, so yeah, that's a great spot. But yeah, Escape Plan, we did a heist, and we are trying to escape the city. So in terms of solo, I think you will be going against I think it's a police commissioner. I'm not really absolutely sure what her position is, but yeah, there is an Althama going around on the board as well. And we are trying to, well, escape the city, collect money so that we can buy like fake IDs, stuff like that, hire gangs to help us escape the city, distract the police. And yeah, that's the main thing with the game. It seems a whole lot of fun, let me tell you. And yeah, I'm quite anticipating that one, but not as much as number 10. And number 10 is, guess what, it's another worker placement game. It is Tricarion Dalgard's Academy. Now, I don't know well, I know, I mean, it's my list. I was going to say, I don't know if I can if you can count expansions as the most anticipated game, but hey, it's my list, so yes, you can on my list. And Dalgard's Academy is amazing. I mean, the theme just speaks to me. Again, yes, a theme is an important issue for me, an important parameter to rank the games. And yeah, Magic, I'm a big fan of Magic. Tried a few Magic tricks myself back in the day, not very successfully, let me tell you. I hope to accomplish them successfully on Tricarion. But yeah, that game looks amazing. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. I mean, it just it blows my mind to see it on the table. But alas, it didn't have, you know, a big solo mode implemented onto it. But thankfully, with the latest Kickstarter, where you could get the collector's edition, which looks lovely, that's the one I'm getting. It's arriving this year, so we will have that game on the channel as well. I think a lot of the games here on this list will probably be featured here, most of them probably. But yeah, that solo mode is done by David Turchi, which I am a huge fan of. In terms of solo, he is my favorite designer. He just does automas like no one else. I mean, they really do feel like a complex system. They really feel organic. You know, in the game that he's making them. He doesn't reuse too much of the same stuff. He really tries to make the automa work with that specific game. He really tries to incorporate it the best he can, and I mean, he has done amazing work. Anachrony is a top game for solo gamers. And his latest, I didn't try Dice Settlers, I did try Teotihuacan, and it is amazing. I love the game. I haven't done the video yet on the channel. It'll be up in the first quarter for sure. I will do my impressions on the game, but hey, I'll tell you right away that I loved that game. So yeah, Tricarion, it has his little work in there, put in there. So for me, it's a highly anticipated game. Anything that David does these days will probably be very much anticipated by me. Dice Settlers didn't, I wasn't so much into it because it seems a bit lighter, and probably I'm not too much into light games these days, so I didn't get it when it came out. I don't know if I'll eventually get it, but yeah, apart from that, Tricarion looks like a heavy worker placement game, very thematic, again beautiful on the table, and it's certainly one of the games I want to put my hands on the most in 2019. That was my number 10, and now on to my number 9. And my number 9 is CLOUDSPIRE. So, CLOUDSPIRE by Chip Fury Games. It was also on Kickstarter last year, 2018. Highly anticipated as well because I really don't own any Chip Fury games yet. And I mean, everyone raves about Chip Fury. Of course, I've seen a lot of videos, and yes, the games do seem amazing. Too Many Bones seems amazing. Oplomaxus really talks to me as well, so I think I will probably really enjoy that one as well. And CLOUDSPIRE is just something else. It is a game that I don't think, at least I don't know of any similar games to it. It kind of recreates that MOBA style video game onto the tabletop, that League of Legends, the Dota games, and it picks those ideas up and brings them to the table. Quite eager to see how they did that Authama, how it's going to work out. It is a dangerous game because, I mean, the Authama will have to be really good in terms of solo. I have no doubts that the game will work really fine with one player against another one, but in terms of solo, I'm a bit scared that, I don't know, I'm a bit scared that the Authama won't be so much of a competition as I hope for, but we'll see. I'm really anticipating it. I love the theme. It's kind of a fantasy setting in a MOBA style game. So we are facing an Authama. We both have our fortresses or our bases, our towers. I don't know what you want to call it, and we are kind of like mashing up in the center. Just a war of attrition between the map as each one of the sides tries to progress a bit more and reach the other guy's fortress and actually destroy it. So it's that style of game, but in tabletop. I don't know if this has been done before. I don't know of any game similar. Let me know if you do know it, because I would like to check it out. But yeah, this one has solo mode built into it, and I'm really I anticipate it, and I'm super curious to see how well it will work in terms of solo. But yes, this game looks amazing. The quality of the components, the chips, and the map looks beautiful. Yeah, really looking forward to that one. And yeah, CLOUDSPIRE. So it's not a worker placement, by the way. So hey, the list is changing a little bit. So yeah, that was my number 9. Now my number 8. I don't know if many people know this game. Well, it's not an underground game. It's known but not well known, I guess. It is Skulltales Full Sail. So Skulltales, again, a Kickstarter game. Was it from 2018? I think it was. Yes, I think it was in last year as well. So let me put this into context. Well, this is more of a dungeon crawler game, and or at least I was like a big dungeon crawler guy. I love dungeon crawlers. In terms of modern board games, what introduced me to it was Arkham Horror Second Edition. Was it second? Yeah, this is the first. Yeah, it was the second edition, and Descent, the first edition. And I played Descent a lot, like really a lot, with a group of friends. The first edition was, Jesus Christ, it was a beast, and it took forever to play. Then we moved on to the second edition, which I love. But I hadn't played it solo until the app came out. But yeah, I really, so Descent grew on me much more than Arkham back in the days, and to this day Descent is still my favorite dungeon crawler. I think the use of the app is amazing. I love the app with Descent. Probably a lot of people won't agree with me. I do have my reasons why I love it. I'll talk about it once I do my impressions on Descent. I'll do a video on Descent as well. Hey, but you know now, you now know it is my favorite dungeon crawler. Yes, it is. Mainly, and yes, because of the app, but those reasons I will explain them later. But yeah, since Descent, I was kind of waiting for another dungeon crawler to really, I don't know, to change things up a little bit for me and revitalize my love for that genre. Gloomhaven kind of did it. I really love a lot of stuff about Gloomhaven. The combat is amazing. I really like it. It has quite a few good things about it, but I don't know. It didn't. It's nothing. I don't know. It wasn't. It's not the best game of ever for me. Like it's not #1 like it is on BoardGameGeek. Not by a mile. But it is a great game. It's a great package. I mean, it is amazing, no doubt. But it wasn't, spectacular game, the best game ever. So there's other dungeon crawlers, of course. There are other options. But if you go and look at them, I mean, fantasy is so meshed with dungeon crawlers these days. That generic fantasy with your wizards and your rogues and your warriors, and I don't know, it's just hard to get excited for something like that. Either the game is fantastic with a new mechanic that no one ever saw and it's just brilliant, or I mean, it's hard to get excited for that. So I guess theme in terms of fantasy in a dungeon crawler, it's going to be almost impossible to get me excited for that. But then, yeah. Aside from that theme, that fantasy, there's a few other good dungeon crawlers that rely more on the horror theme. But I'm not much of a horror guy. Let's say, for example, Deep Madness, which has been having great reviews. Not much into, I'm not too much of a horror guy, so it was hard to get excited for that one as well. So I guess dungeon crawlers started to go down on my list, on my anticipated list. I wasn't really getting hyped for games in that genre. But yeah, lo and behold, Skulltales Full Sail came out on Kickstarter, and whoa, it just blew me over. I mean, the theme is really good. I like pirates. I love pirates. I don't think I have one pirate-themed game yet. I was looking at Merchant and Marauders some time ago. But yeah, this then came out, and I was like, no, never mind. I'll just get Skulltales Full Sail, because one, I want to get it. I want to be in love with dungeon crawlers once again. I want a different theme, and this certainly is. I mean, it's kind of fantasy-ish as well. But it's pirates, it's not just warriors, rogues, it's not your general fantasy setting. And besides that, it's not just dungeon crawling. There's a lot of different stuff that you are doing. You are actually on your ship, you are managing your crew in terms that your relationship with your crew is important. You have to manage that. You have to manage the ship. You have a phase where you are actually moving your ship on the seas. And you have to figure out, navigate the seas and fight monsters on the seas, fight other ships. There's that phase. Then yeah, you will eventually reach your destination. That will be a more classic dungeon crawler type of game. And then you also have, well, I guess it's after you do all of your dungeon crawling, you collect your rewards and you go back to, not to town, well, it is a town, but it's a port. And you will have also a port phase where you are going to taverns, hiring new crew members, well, doing whatever pirates do when they're anchored on a port and they go about their lives. So yeah, there's that phase as well. So the whole game really appeals to me. I think it's really a fresh take on the dungeon crawling aspect of things. It's kind of a campaign game and has a lot of stuff for you to manage. So yeah, that one really appealed to me, and I really anticipated a lot. It has me excited for a dungeon crawler once again, and that's a hard thing to do these days, to get me excited for a dungeon crawler. Skulltales did that, and that's why it's on my anticipated list of games for 2019. It is my number 8, and now on to my number 7. On to my number 7, which is kind of a cheat. It's both an expansion and a game as well. It is The Seventh Consonant. What goes up must come down. and boy, am I excited to get this expansion. And you know why? Because I haven't played Seven Continent ever, so I'm getting the expansion and the game all in one package. So I guess my excitement is a lot relating to that as well, because well, I want Seven Continent and I want this expansion because it does look amazing. It certainly looks to bring some quite a new things to the game as well. But yes, I mean it is kind of a cheat, because well, a lot of my excitement is to the base game as well. I haven't really tried Seven Continent. I never played it, and you're going to start to see a pattern right here with number 7, which is story games. I love story games. So when I was talking about mechanics, yeah, there was a lot of worker placement. Now it's you're going to see a lot of story games, or games heavy on the story. That's not the main mechanic, but their main objective is to immerse you on the story. And give you a story, a full-on story, well constructed, and have you live it completely in a board game form. And yeah, the first entry on that subject is on my list is the Seven Continent. What goes up must come down. Again, it's mostly because well, I'm getting the whole package and I really want to try out this game. It just seems to be right up my alley. I mean, I love this kind of thing. I love story games. In video games, I love video games that present you with, you know, that strong story. It's not about playing the game as much as experiencing it. And that's what I like in tabletop form as well. I like to experience games, not just play them. Of course, there are games that you just play them and they are amazing, like Spirit Island. I love Spirit Island. It's a game, you're playing it. It has those mechanics, you're just playing it. But when the game offers you more than that, like, I don't know, just throwing out because I just talked about it, like Descent, you know, you have the app. Yes, the story isn't amazing, but at least there's a story in it, and you are going through that continued story. I don't know, you just feel like the time you are putting into it, there's a bit of a extra reward in it. You are, you know, going through a story and you want to see how it ends. I mean, it's pretty good. One of my favorite stuffs, and one of the things that brings me back to the table is to, you know, continue that story, see how that story ends, see the things that I've done, how will they matter in the game that I'm playing. So yes, story is a big deal for me, and it's a big deal in Seven Continent. It's a big deal in the expansion. What goes up must come down, and that is why it is my number 7 on my most anticipated list for this year. So yeah, let's go into number 6. Okay, and my number 6 is again an expansion. It is Robinson Crusoe Mystery Tales. This one has me really excited, let me tell you. I love Robinson Crusoe Adventures on Cursed Island. It is one of my favorite solo games ever. So, and I didn't get the first expansion. I was about to buy it, but then I heard that there's probably a reprint coming from Portal, and since I want, you know, the whole packages to be all lookalikes, that old CD from a board game, where I want the expansions and the boxes to be all of the same publisher, blah blah blah. Yes, I wanted everything to be just the same. So I'm waiting to see if there's a reprint, and until then I'll just get this expansion for sure because it looks amazing. It didn't have to look amazing, it just had to look good for me to highly anticipate it, because I love Robinson Crusoe that much. But yes, this one does look amazing. I really like the theme they went and put into it. They went with kind of a the Lost City of Z, and they kind of meshed it in together with Robinson Crusoe. I love that theme as well. That I like the theme of exploration, of jungle exploration. I like movies about it. I love games about it. Hey, Seven Continent, yeah. I don't know if I'll love the game. I haven't played it, but I'm highly anticipating it because of that as well. That theme really speaks to me. And yeah, so this expansion, it had to be on my top, mostly because of the game that it is serving. If it was serving another game, but then maybe it wasn't so high on my list. But since it is for Robinson, I'm really looking forward to it. There's new mechanics that are going to be a part of it. And yeah, I'm quite eager to get my hands on that one. Having it actually brings a whole campaign into Robinson Crusoe regarding the search for the lost city of Z. You are actually, I don't know if it's actually Percy Fawcett that we are following. I actually think it is. So we are actually going following him, trying to find that lost city. So it's kind of a mini campaign brought into Robinson Crusoe. It's something that I always wanted the game to have. You know, I love scenario-based games, but it's always good if there's a little something linking them. That's why they are also bringing in here. I don't think it will link to previous scenarios, but there's the new ones that are probably going to be linked in some sort of mini campaign. So yeah, it brings that. It also has sanity. Now you're going to it's possible for you to go completely insane, as if the game wasn't difficult enough, right? Yes. But hey, they just thought, you know, you guys are having too much of an easy time. Hey, let's bring in sanity. Let's make you guys go insane while playing Robinson. Yeah, I don't expect a lot of wins on this one too early, but time will tell. And yeah, that's Robinson Crusoe Mystery Tales. Very high on my list, number 6. And then on to number 5, which is Sleeping Gods by Ryan Lockett. Well, again, it's a story game, and we are definitely going to bring story games a lot now on the list. Now, Ryan's games are amazing. Above and Below looks just amazing, and then Near and Far, it's a beautiful, beautiful game. It has a solo mode that well, you can play it solo with the Ember Mines expansion. It's an amazing experience. It has a campaign. It has an amazing look. I mean, on the table, that game is really, really good. And I really love how he's building up with his past experience. I mean, from Above and Below to Near and Far, it's a huge leap. I mean, it's a familiar game, but it's a huge leap in quality in my book. No pun intended. But from Near and Far to Sleeping Gods, I think he's going to take it even more far away in terms of quality, in terms of how to present a good story book, which is kind of what he does. A good storybook in a board game. It's going to certainly, I mean, elevate that his level into, you know, a masterpiece of a storybook presented in board game form. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to his work. I mean, his artwork is amazing. It's just, you look at his games and you just you think, you know, I really want to own it. In terms of visually, they are stunning. And then in terms of gameplay, they are super, super fun and a great way to experience a story campaign. Maybe not too heavy, and that's why it might not be so high on the list in terms of story games. But yeah, it's one that I really, really look forward to. It is the first one in the top 5, if you want to count the top 5. So yeah, that is Sleeping Gods. Okay, on to number 4. If you thought that worker placement was gone, no, it is not. Number 4 is a worker placement game, and is from a designer that I've talked about previously. He has 2 games on the list. It is Vital Lacerda, and the game is On Mars. That is my number 4. I think that I'm going to adore this game to bits. The artwork is from Ian O'Toole again. Their work together has been splendid. I love the artwork on Escape Plan, and I love the one on Mars. I think Ian really gets the theme, the overall theme when a game is done, and his artwork really, I don't know, it really blends into the theme so well that it just makes sense, the artwork that he chooses to that theme, especially Escape Plan. I think Escape Plan looks amazing with the looks he chose. And they are really, they really blend in with all of the gameplay. I love the choice he did there, and I love the choice he did on Mars. And you can tell that I love it because I think that, well, I don't know if it's the official box cover, the one that is on BoardGameGeek right now, but if it is, well, that image, if it's going to be the box cover, it's my favorite box cover ever. I love that artwork, the On Mars cover that is there right now with the astronaut on the red suit. I think he has a red suit. I mean, it is just, it's beautiful. And yeah, if the whole game is going to go with that kind of look, it's kind of a graphic novel look. It's really, really up my alley. And, well, it's a $50 sort of game. It's going to be amazing. It's going to have a super well done, very well oiled engine of a worker placement engine behind the worker placement, where you are probably, I haven't seen the game yet, but you're probably doing an action and just triggering a whole bunch of them. All very thematic, all will probably make sense. You know, it's one thing, that's one thing with his games. It looks super complex. I mean, one action will trigger, I don't know, 6 others, but it's so well blend into the theme. You know, everything makes so much sense in that theme that it's really easy, and it turns out to be an easy game to explain and an easy game to play. And I'm not expecting Mars to be any worse than that on Mars. The theme really speaks to me. I like the theme. I like it more than, well, at least initially, I like it more than The Gallerist, than Vigno's. Probably, I like it more than Escape Plan. Not probably, I like it more. And yeah, I think it's going to be a more complex game. And it's probably going to be my favorite Mars game ever. There's a lot of them. There was a big boom of Mars people trying to you know, do games related to that, to us traveling to Mars, trying to colonize it. But I'm guessing that this one is going to be my favorite one of the whole bunch, starting with the artwork, which is just lovely. And yeah, that is On Mars. That is my number 4. Here we go, top 3. My number 3 it's Metal Gear Solid, the board game. I gotta be honest, I don't know really that much about the game, but hey, you just would need to tell me, hey, there's a Metal Gear Solid board game coming out, and I would be just freaking out completely. Metal Gear Solid is, I don't know, it's probably in my top 5 favorite franchises in terms of video games. I was a huge video game guy a while back, not too long ago. And yeah, Metal Gear Solid is just one of my favorites. If there was one franchise that I would put into board game form, it would be Metal Gear. That would be my first pick. And so, I mean, when I knew that this was coming, I just freaked out. I mean, I have to get this game. This is like super anticipated for me, and it's mainly for the theme. But I'm trusting that whoever is going to pick this up, I mean, Metal Gear Solid is a franchise that there's a lot of love behind it, so I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Stealth has been proved to be that it can be well done in terms of board games. I mean, look at V Commandos. The game has been getting very good remarks. The reviews have been very good, and I'm speaking in terms of solos. People have been loving it in terms of solo. So yeah, if that game can do well, I mean, they can just build on that stealth system and do something even better. And with the Metal Gear franchise behind it, I'm sure it can be a super successful game. I don't know if it will be. Again, I don't know that much about the game. I don't know if that much is known. I know it will have a campaign, and yeah, it's in the Metal Gear universe. Don't know that much about it. But yeah, it's Metal Gear, so for me it has to be on my anticipation list. Sorry that I can't tell you much more than that, but yeah, this one is mainly the theme driving it for me. That's the thing. I mean, a Metal Gear game for me is going to be right there on top. Okay, and that was number 3. So my number 2 has been announced just a few days ago, like 2 days ago. You probably know, well, when this video is out, it will probably be like a week ago, so you'll probably know what it is by now. It is Lord of the Rings, the Journeys in Middle-earth. Oh boy, am I excited for that one. I was actually going to get Mansions of Madness this year. I don't have it yet. Probably mainly because of the ugly bases on the monsters. I hate how the game looks with those ugly bases, so I never bought it. But yeah, I've seen now that people take that off and put you know, transparent bases, and the game looks much better. So I was actually going to get it and do that. I just wanted I was waiting to have the patience to do that, but I think I have these days. But hey, lo and behold, they just announced Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth, and it kind of looks like that. Well, it's not, Mansions of Madness is more of a closed environment. It's kind of more of a dungeon crawler, actually. And Lord of the Rings seems to be more of a outdoor adventure kind of game. But hey, it's Lord of the Rings, and I love Lord of the Rings. I mean, I really do love Lord of the Rings. And so the theme for me, again, it's what's pushing it up on the list. And again, I actually love that sort of app into a game. Now, I like apps who tell you stories and who actually are showing you the scenario as you are playing through it. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I love Descent as a dungeon crawler, because the app has that ability to be a dungeon master in the sense that if you pick up maybe another dungeon crawler, you open up your scenario book and hey, you have the whole thing right there. You know what's coming, you know how the scenario is, you know what monsters you're facing, you know everything. You're setting it up, so you will know. There's a few workarounds, yeah, like Gloomhaven, you can get, there's a few PDFs, sorry, or websites that you can kind of just see the initial setup, and as you are opening doors, you can go and check that file, and it'll show you that room. So, okay, there's workarounds, but the potential of the app is much bigger. It's telling you a story, it's hiding content. There are surprises that are coming that you don't know of. I mean, in Gloomhaven, if you take a lot of time, you take a lot of time. There's no surprises coming. On the Descent app, there are. I mean, if you take a lot of time, hey, you know what? Someone just arrived now. There's a new group of monsters. You were taking too long, so you didn't know they were coming. Yeah, they were coming, and now they're here. And now you have to face them as well. And those kind of, that surprise, you know, that element of surprise, I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing. Solo, it really adds to the story. Even if the story isn't amazing, those elements of surprise, I mean, it's not a story particular moment, but it adds to the story in my honest opinion. So I think this game has a huge potential. I mean, using that app, I'm sure they're building on the experience and doing even a better app than Mansions of Madness one, which people love. I mean, people love that app. So I think this game is going to be something else. It's really going to blow up pretty much. It seems to be meshing elements from a lot of different games. So I've seen people actually compare it a lot to Descent. I don't get that. I don't think it has anything to do with Descent. It's not a dungeon crawler. It uses an app, sure, but so does Mansion of Madness. And in that sense, it seems more like Mansions of Madness app, which is more focused on story. The Mansions of Madness app, you have more choices to do in that app. And from the little sneak peeks of information we got on the Fantasy Flight Games website, there seems to be a lot of screenshots with choices, where you are making choices in the app. So, well, at least from what they're showing, it seems a bit more like Mansions of Madness, the app part. Then in terms of the game itself, it seems like a bit of a mesh between, I would say, Fallout, the exploration in Fallout, with all those hexes where you are, I don't know if it's going to be Fog of War, where we lay out the map and some hexes are upside down and we will reveal them, or if we are actually exploring and building up the map as we advance through it. Has a little bit of Runebound as well in terms of skill checks. It seems to be exactly the same, where Runebound we draw cards. You probably know how that works. You draw cards and let's say you have a skill, I don't know, your skill in fishing is 3. You draw 3 cards, and if there's one success symbol in one of those cards, then you passed that skill check. If there's no success symbol on the cards from the skill deck, then you didn't pass it. And yeah, it seems to be to also use that kind of system. In terms of combat, I don't know if it's going to be something like Gloomhaven, because I didn't see any dice in all the screenshots and all the things that we saw. There were 0 dice. And that's really good. Descent uses dice. I wish, yeah, I would probably change that and make it not use dice. I don't know how. But dice also make it a fun and fast system to do combat with. So yeah, I'm okay with Descent having dice. Maybe this one I would prefer it not to have dice. So so yeah, again, it's something that it doesn't relate to Descent at all, in my opinion. It has nothing to do with it. So for now, I have Descent. So if I can get a game that is completely different, hey, awesome. If it uses an app, yeah, great. It does seem similar to Mansions of Madness, so actually it might fill that gap in my collection. I'll probably might not get Mansions of Madness now that I will get Lord of the Rings, The Journeys in Middle-earth. But yes, the app implementation really elevates it on my list. I think it's going to be an amazing story in the Lord of the Rings universe, which is one of my favorites ever. So yeah, quite excited to get my hands on that game. It has some miniatures, not superbly looking, but they look very, very nice. So yeah, it is a game that I really, really anticipate quite a bit. And that brings us to my number one of 2019. And that is, well, it's probably a boring choice. It's going to be number one on at least I'm guessing that it's going to be number one in a lot of lists, and that is Tainted GRAIL. This was on Kickstarter just a while ago, and yeah, that game looks amazing. Now again, it is that story game that you're going to experience, a huge story, it seems, on this one in your table. It's picking up on a new universe from Arthurian legends, but honestly, this just seems like Dark Souls with the Arthurian legends layer of story put on top of it. It's super Dark Soulsy to me. It really speaks and resembles Dark Souls in terms of the type of creatures you are facing, and in terms of types of choices that I kind of saw in the sneak peeks of information that we got for that one. And I mean, yes, I love Dark Souls as well. It's one of my favorite franchises. It seems like I say that for every single one of them, but no, it's just I only speak of the ones I really, really love. And yeah, it's Metal Gear, it's Dark Souls. Hey, I'm a big fan of the Zelda franchise. I like Last of Us for the PlayStation. Yeah, so if I speak about one of those later on, you'll know that I was telling the truth, that I do love those franchises. And yes, Dark Souls is an amazing franchise. Super fun games, and it's been done on board game form, actually, the Dark Souls board game. Not very successfully, I gotta say, not really a fan of that. But this one, though, this one blows it out of the water. I mean, the way they do the story, the exploration with the menhirs, where you have to light them. You can't just go and explore wherever. No, you gotta be careful. The way they went with combat and the diplomacy encounters and the combat encounters, where you have those cards, you have to create chains of cards, playing them from your hand. They have to match those symbols. Again, it's a diceless game, thank God. I think you don't use the dice for anything. You can roll the dials, but I don't know what it is for. Can't remember, but yeah, that one looks amazing. Again, it's that really gothic, dark gothic theme and look to it. It's a story game. The story looks very adult, so it's one that I'm really, really, really looking forward to get. Again, it's going to be also showcased here on the channel. I got everything for it because I was really, really excited for that game, and yeah, it has the potential to be my favorite game ever. I mean, I haven't played the game, but just looking at it, like the theme and the mechanics on it, boy, does it really talk to me. I'm really, really excited for that one. So yeah, those were my top 12 games for 2019. There's more games I want to play. Yes, obviously. They just didn't make the list. I mean, I think this game is going to be amazing in terms of solo. I don't know if overall it's going to be better than 2018, which had quite a lot of good games. But in terms of solo, I think this year is going to blow the previous year out of the water. So yeah, that's my list. I'm quite eager to actually know your picks. So let me know which games you guys are really anticipating in 2019 and that didn't make my list. I would love to go and check them out as well. Maybe there's a few that I haven't heard about actually, and I would love to know your opinions on it. By the way, there's a link on the description if you guys want to see the list on BoardGameGeek. There's a geek list for this top 12 of anticipated games. You can follow that link if you want to. You can comment there as well. feel free to go and leave your opinions on that. And also, by the way, I wanted to talk a little bit about the top games of 2018 list. Now, I haven't done one yet. I'm not a fan of doing a list, just rushing a list at the end of the year. Well, I mean, if I was a big media outlet, I would probably have time to play all the games a lot of times, but well, I don't, and I haven't. I haven't been able to play them as much as I wanted, and I haven't played them all. I haven't played all the ones that I wanted, all the ones that really seem, well, that I own and that seem really good to me. So that list will be coming. I will do a top solo games of 2018 list, but it's not going to be anytime soon. Probably around January, February, March, April, more like April, I'll probably release a list. I will feel much more confident by then to actually tell you what I loved from the games of 2018. I will feel much more confident in giving you that content around that time, rather than just rushing a list just because. I don't just want to do a list just to do a list, okay? I actually want to have, you know, a fundamental opinion and tell you the games that I loved after playing them quite a few times, not just a few times, okay? So if you are wondering if I'm doing a list like that, yes, I will do. I'll probably want to do a regular top 10, like rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if I'll do that. I'll probably do some other type of formats, but yeah, you'll see it when it comes out. I would say around April is probably the safest date I can give you. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.